Hello, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Monkey.
And yes, we're feeling very depressed tonight because it's the finale of the great DisneyToon ranking podcast. And that means it's the bottom 10. Monkey, you know what that means?
What does it mean?
It means we're going to have to go over some of the worst films in Michael Eisner's tenure. That does not get a very warm hello now, does it? God. All right. I'm going to kill this bit. Okay, Monkey, how you doing?
Goodbye. Doing okay.
Right on, right on. So, yeah, I don't remember. Do you remember who went last time? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, probably me.
Probably you. Let's just say it was you.
I think it's been the you, me pattern.
Okay.
So both of them.
That in mind. Hold on. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. So StreamYard has given me like way more options, but because they've given me way more options, it is like harder to find shit. So bear with me. I'm trying to find I literally just wrote out a ton of banners and now I can find them.
Updated technology, am I right?
No, it's seriously like what? Oh my God. Oh, I'm seriously having a moment here.
Oh God.
No, I'm fine. I'm just like I literally wrote out all these banners and now it's like they're showing me like, oh, here's some folders for I'm like I didn't put them in any folders. Where
here's StreamYard. Okay, StreamYard, we're giving you the number 31 spot just for that.
I got it. It was under example.
Okay,
banners. Good. But Jesus Christ, that was some guesswork I had to do. All right, let's go. Number 21 on my end is a fan favorite that is above stuff like Hunchback 2 and Mulan 2. I just want to emphasize the two controversial movies that I ended part 1 and part 2 on. It's going to be Kronk's New Groove. I feel like even though this Kronk earns a thumbs up from Poppy, it earns like a mild from Tiki. That's about all it gets. It's like,
that's right. Not unfair.
The thing with Kronk's New Groove for me is that I feel like while I do really like the Ursula, or I was about to call her Ursula, Jesus Christ. Ursula's crazy sister. Now, Yzma totally could be Ursula's crazy sister in another world.
That would be fun.
Right. I do like the Ursula as a... Oh my God, I just did it again. I do like the Yzma as a cat stuff in the first short. I think that's fun. I think the whole, like, look at me, I'm the lovely Mrs. Kronk. Like, that stuff, that whole mistaken identity stuff at the end is just... It is comedic gold on par with the original movie. I genuinely love it. Everything else in between in this movie is a big fat pile of meh for me. Mrs. Birdwell, all due respect to her, she ain't no goofy, extremely goofy movie Sylvia. She ain't no Sylvia. She is just a very, very generic love interest. I don't like that camping storyline at all. I feel like it's that camping storyline might be one of the most generic parts of one of these like multi-episode DisneyToon sequels in the whole canon, I think. I mean, it's not aggressively bad like some of the stuff we might get to. Hello, Belle's shocked face. But it's just very, very boring. It's just very, very like milquetoast. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I like the framing device with the thumbs up from Poppy. I feel like that's kind of given the channel a pretty decent amount of meme potential over the years. And I like the idea of Kronk being the main character, but I kind of just feel like this movie also kind of shows that Kronk being the main character on paper is great. in execution, it's almost kind of like, okay, is this a little bit too much Kronk? Are we kind of getting like a diminishing returns in the same way we get with Jack Sparrow being the lead character in a Pirates movie? That's kind of how I feel here. All right. ZNK says...
All right, so we've learned that all purple Disney villainesses look alike to Tiki.
Yes. God. Well, then Thanos comes out in drag. What about me? I'm the great Mrs. Thanos.
Just a snap of my fingers and you'll be human.
I'm the lovely Mrs. Thanos. Right.
I hope she turns up in the Avengers e-ticket.
Oh my god. Just saying that exact phrase. Just look at me. I'm the lovely Mrs. Thanos. Same voice, same deep ass Josh Brolin voice. All right.
And Cable's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
ZNK says even the writers for this movie hated the camping story, at least the cheerleading part.
Oh wow. That is kind of validating.
Mm-hmm. Now would you say step up or step down from New School? I haven't watched all of Emperor's New School. I don't know. That's a tough one to call. I honestly would say Emperor's New School is not trying to be anything that it's not, and what it is just kind of like a fun little tie-in to the movie.
Yeah, maybe it depends on the episode.
Yeah, probably.
Like in terms of which over Kronk's new groove.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's about it for me. We already went over this movie on your end, so not too much more to talk about. Number 21 for you.
My number 21 is where Springtime with Rue ended up.
Okay, this is yet another one for me where I'm like, God damn it, this barely qualifies as a movie.
At least in this one, it's its whole thing. They didn't just insert another special into the middle of it.
I mean, true, but all right, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Well, yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, and so it's like I think for me, what brought this down a bit was that is a bit too cutesy for me by Pooh media standards, and also just how horrible Rabbit is to everyone.
Oh yes, Rabbit is a straight dick in this one.
Yeah, I'd seen this one before, so I knew that the future segment was on its way. So waiting for it was kind of a when are they going to get to the fireworks factory?
Right.
And then it wasn't quite as fulfilling a fireworks factory as I was sort of hoping on this rewatch. And credit where it's due. The empty houses in that sequence, that's very striking. Like, yeah, Rabbit, you got so unbearable, everyone would rather go as this far.
Right.
And of course, as in the wrong as Rabbit is, Ken Sansom does give a really good line delivery of, you took that away from me.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's obviously not the worst of these things, but it's not as strong as a Pooh thing could have been.
All right.
As nice as it is to see these characters.
So what you're saying is that it's not a solid Pooh monkey.
Indeed.
All right. I'm sorry. I saw the opening and I had to take it.
Yeah, you were just like, you saw that opening and you were like, well, shit.
All right. Let's see. ZNK says Rabbit is such a hard character to get right without making him feel like too much of a dick. Very much Daisy Duck, arguably. I would say Rabbit's biggest modern day 1-to-1 comparison would probably be maybe Squidward, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I feel like Squidward, in spite of being arguably more antagonistic just on a base level, I feel has more moments where he is opening up to the people more. I don't know. Squidward can also be a tough nut to cast.
And of course, this is an Easter Winnie the Pooh thing, so insert your obvious lack of Jesus quips here.
David Ogden Steers, great as he usually is, seems out of place as the narrator. I keep expecting the Beauty and the Beast overture.
I'm going to disagree there. I can't think of a bad Winnie the Pooh narrator, honestly.
I think Winnie the Pooh narrators are like Alfreds in Batman. There's just it's hard to do a bad one.
Yeah, Roger L. Jackson sounds the most different, but he's still fine. Still does the assignment.
Dragon and I have this running joke where it's just like there has never been a bad Alfred. And seriously, go down the line of media. There has never been an Alfred where you can point out and be like, "Pu, that was a bad one."
It's just occurring to me now, easy joke is easy, but with Roger L. Jackson being the narrator, he could have asked any of the 100 Acre Wood characters what their favorite scary movie is.
right. God. What the Dickens, and I do mean Dickens.
It's going on here.
God. Nice.
Speaking of Dickens and Jesus, that's a line you could use about that new Oscar Isaac movie.
Which one?
The one where he's going to be Jesus.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with Charles Dickens going to see Jesus or something.
Oh God, Monkey, you are way more on the up about this movie than I am. I have no idea what you're Charles.
I think
Dickens
it's based on a pre-existing story,
what?
but anyway.
That literally sounds like a premise that would be created on a Mad Libs.
Yeah, so the meme I've seen is of Poe Dameron saying, "Somehow I returned."
Oh my God. Nice.
Anyway.
All right. Okay, moving right along here. Oh God, do I have to go back into... Okay, no, good. I don't have to navigate it again. Okay, number 22 on my end is going to be... Okay, you might disagree with me a little bit on this. Hear me out. Pooh's Heffalump Halloween movie.
Okay.
So yeah, I do have Springtime with Rue lower than this. And honestly, Monkey, it is, I feel like you hit it right on the head when you said, like, Springtime with Rue is just a little too aggressively kiddie for my taste. Like, the stuff at the end, the future stuff is good. It is pretty poignant. Rabbit does have a pretty decent, like, arc and lesson to be learned in that movie.
The pages that have not yet been written, motherfucker.
Right. But as a whole, I feel like Springtime with Rue is like aggressively like Winnie the Pooh is a children's franchise, and also I'm not crazy about this era of Winnie the Pooh kind of like pimping Rue out as the star character in the franchise.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, though, I think Rue works better.
And this Rue feels more cutesy than theatrical Rue.
Right.
Not as much in Heffalump. But yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pooh's Heffalump Halloween movie. The title alone doesn't really make it feel like it's a real movie, and it's not because of the whole, the flashback stuff. But you know what? You know me, Monkey. I'm a big Halloween guy. I like me some autumn vibes. That was enough to push this movie kind of towards the top of the bottom third. I know that's flimsy. I know that's not really fair, but it is what it is. It's my personal taste. And I do really like, I feel like Rue is slightly more tolerable when he is with Lumpy, because it's kind of like, I kind of like the idea that Rue and Lumpy are kind of like the next generation of Winnie the Pooh citizens.
Aww.
Whereas it's Rue on his own as like the standout figure. I gotta tell you, like, as much as Tigger and Rue make sense, I kind of feel like Rue almost hijacked Tigger's dynamic with practically everyone else at a certain point, if that makes sense. Just like every time Tigger would come on screen, just be like the Tigger and Rue show, the Tigger and Rue show. And I just wanted, I don't know, I just think Tigger in particular has a lot of fun interactions with everyone in the cast. And I feel like those kind of get watered down when he's basically having to play best buddy to Rue. So yeah, this one's okay. Like I said, it does have the Halloween vibes, which I like. It does have the costumes. Gopher's running gag with the costumes is fucking hilarious. I love that. So yeah, not much here, but we'll get to Springtime with Rue. I'm not going to have a lot to say about Springtime with Rue just because I kind of feel like I've already said my piece on it elsewhere. Okay. Going through comments here. Z&K said what they did in Very Merry Pooh Year could only work once. This felt too much like deja vu of what they did. the story is just a mishmash of stories that have been told before. Only part that did get a big laugh out of me was trick-or-treating at Piglet's house. And then I remember seeing footage of an unfinished third Heffalump movie. Ooh, that seemed to be on the same level of Grand Adventure. That's interesting. That definitely piques my interest. All right. Okay, what's your number 22, Monkey?
My number 22, this is like, not as high as you put it, and maybe higher than others would put it. This is where it was a bit of a tough one to rank, but this is where Mulan 2 wound up.
All right, you know what? I'm just glad it's not like in your bottom 5 or something at this point. Justice for Mulan 2. I'm telling you guys, I might be the number 1 Mulan 2 fan after this.
I don't want to use... I hesitate to use the word competence, but it feels a little closer to that than some of the others on the list, like that come in than some of the others. And okay, so I guess the credit where it's due, like had some decent action. I did enjoy the montage of Mushu failing to break them up. It's like one of my thoughts during this movie was Mushu and Glomgold are wannabes of each other.
Oh my god, it's true. I could totally see that.
Yeah. Let's see. For Yao and especially Chenpo, I can understand the connection they form with their respective princesses. That's all nice. Not as much with Lin and Ting Ting. That one didn't quite go for me as well. And I guess the Mulan and Shang having their issues throughout didn't always work for me. For some reason, the whole "what about China" issue with the ending
didn't. I hang my hat on with Shang is just his over the top reactions. That's where my Shang is at in this movie. I just love him getting over the top pissed and the facial reactions that come with it.
Fair enough. For some reason, the whole issue with the ending, like "what about China," that didn't quite bother me as much. What did bother me was the very ending with Mushu. So who cares? Spoiler territory. Sorry, but so we get to the ending where it's like, oh man, I did the whole thing because I wasn't going to be Mulan's guardian anymore because they were going to use Shang's temple. But no, now they're combining the temples. So was that the plan all along? Did they only do that because Shang learned about Mushu? But the thing that bothered me? Wait, so this whole thing that caused you to do this whole thing may not have happened, but the thing that really bugged me was how so now Mushu is back where he was at the start of the film as a jerk abusing his privileges. His arc is a circle. I feel like as much as it's like, Scamp still hates Bath, so he ends the movie on a bad note, but he still, I guess, learned things. Mushu kind of learned things, but then he's back to where he started as being a dick. Like, that didn't quite go for me. It was,
it could be like you could look at it as like a lesson to be learned that some people are just inherently assholes, no matter what kind of character growth they try to convince you that they're going on.
Yeah. It's like, oh, what a happy ending for this movie. Otherwise, I think the only other major note I have is that one of the princesses was voiced by Sandra Oh, so she should have mentioned how this is what happens when you don't wear sunblock and do drugs all day.
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry.
And Mushu is red, so...
Everyone hates this song, but I think I Want to Be Like Other Girls is kind of a bop. I'm sorry. It's a little bit of an earworm. I want to be like other girls.
Speaking of songs, I felt like I enjoy Girl Worth Fighting For in the original movie, and this one it felt like they were kind of trying to make it more obnoxious.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that callback.
Yeah, and the loss of the 1812 Overture quote definitely doesn't help.
I feel like with Girl We're Fighting For, it's like when it's like in the middle of the war and they're singing about just like anything to keep them going, it works a lot better than just like, we're army men about town and we're rowdy bachelors. You know what I mean? All right. So yeah, like I said, I had a good time with Milan too. It might be one of those like expectations things where my expectations were pretty low. 1812 Overture. What's that got to do with this movie again? ZNK is asking.
That's because, like, at the end of in the original Milan, at the end of Girl Worth Fighting, there's a moment where the score, I'm pretty sure, quotes the 1812 Overture. Da 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 da. And I love that. Just that hits my ears and my mind the right way.
Nice. Also,
they didn't do it in this movie.
One big thing that this version of Girl Worth Fighting for lacks is one of the hardest tone shifts in the history of Disney. All right. Okay, let's see. Number 20. Are we on 22?
23.
23. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yeah. So what's going to be the D23 option for each of us?
Number out. Jesus Christ, I need to change the number out. Okay, number 23 for me is going to be Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. I can see why some people hate this. I don't particularly love it, but I will say that there are certain sequences that I did really like. It's always nice to have some Donald, Huey, Dewey, Louie, Scrooge, McDuck action. I always like that kind of like dynamic, so it's nice to see.
Alan Young is Scrooge.
Right. I'll take whatever I can get from that. My favorite sequences in this is definitely the opening one with the ice skating. I really like that. That's one of the few ones where I think the 3D animation actually like looks good and like it, like they actually took advantage of the 3D animation. Didn't
Michelle Kwan do live action reference for that sequence?
I have no idea. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I really like the fact that they brought in the Dance of the Hours animals for that sequence too. I thought that was a really nice addition. Not crazy about retconning Roxanne out of existence.
Yeah, as I understand it, it was because they didn't have the technology to do Roxanne's hair justice in 3D animation. But my counterpoint to that is, okay, maybe Roxanne cut her hair short in the time
her haircut. Yeah, exactly. Wow, a woman getting a shorter haircut? My God, that's never happened before, ever.
Yeah.
No. And look, this new girl, I don't even can remember her name. She's pleasant enough, but God damn it, she's not Roxanne. And I got to admit,
I guess Roxanne was busy trying to get Ed's secret sauce, but getting a mini golf ball to the face.
Yes. Oh God. Oh man. Oh, you and your obscure references, Monkey. Gotta love it.
When is Good Burger obscure?
Well, no, but that particular element of Good Burger is a little bit of a stretch, but I digress. I got to admit, I know that there's more than 3 shorts in this. I only remember the ice skating, the Donald Duck one, and the Max gets a new girlfriend who isn't Roxanne one. So I guess the other 2 aren't exactly the most memorable for me. Yeah, I don't know. I just, for me, it's kind of one of those things like where Once Upon a Christmas didn't make my top 10 just because I thought it was a little weird to put a Christmas compilation in the top 10, even though it is a really good Christmas compilation. I feel like this one did not hit my bottom 5, almost for the same reason, because it's hard to be mad at a movie that's just a Christmas compilation. You know, there are good vibes, there's good morals, there's some bits and pieces of decent animation here and there, although obviously I wish they would have just stuck with the 2D style. So overall, definitely way inferior to Once Upon a Christmas. There's nothing in here that I think is like offensively bad though. So it's kind of like right in the middle of the line of the worst. Okay, let's see, sorry. I'm just catching up to Z and K is just saying, but she's so close to being Roxanne since she still has the same voice. I know.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
No, it bothers the hell out of me. I remember
Roxanne's inexplicable sister.
Oh my god, right? I remember when I first saw the trailer for this, I was pleasantly surprised to hear Rusey and the nephews again when Tony had voiced them for House of Mouse, which still feels off. Yeah, for sure. All right. Okay, Monkey, what is your number 23?
Okay, my D23 is my... Hold on, what's the word? Monkey's Crazy Ranking!
What?
This is where I put Little Mermaid 2: Return to the Sea.
Oh, okay. All right. Not too far off. I had it at 19, so we're not too far off here.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's quote-unquote, it's more, like, I find it more quote-unquote bad than Ariel's beginning, but it's also more memorable than that. You know,
but is it more memorable outside of the one meme, though? Really?
Yeah, a touch, I guess.
I do like that Eric is a good dad in this movie. I always cited that.
Yeah, some of the stuff in the movie kind of works for me. Some of it doesn't. Like the early stuff with Melody having to deal with the other children works against the film more so for me. Let's see, you see Max Casella and Samuel Lee Wright are giving enjoyable performances. A lot of it's probably safe to assume that Pat Carroll does a lot of the heavy lifting for this movie.
Oh yeah, big time.
Like just, in that vocal performance, the line "Ursula's crazy sister." It's funny for its bluntness. Ursula. I mean, Morgana's in an ice fortress, so it's so close to being the fortress of Ursula-tude.
Oh my god! Wow. I could literally.
Yeah, I know I mentioned this.
I could see your muscles straining to come up with that one.
It's more so in the how to pronounce it.
Right.
As I mentioned before, you could get C.D. Barnes for the Cinderella movies, but not this. Let's see, what else did I have to say on this one? It's one of the more member berries of these Disney movies, of these direct-to-video films. So I got to tell the story. So watching it properly for the first time in 2019, 2020 or so, you get to that part with Sebastian and the cake. I'm expecting a crab cake pun. It doesn't happen. Then later, around the 50-minute or so mark, where Sebastian's like, "Oh, I screwed up. Go ahead, make a crab cake out of me." I exclaimed, "Oh, now you say it!" And I paused the movie. I had to pause the movie for a couple or so minutes. So there we are. I guess that's Ariel's crazy sequel.
All right. Any thoughts on Dad Bod Flounder?
Not necessarily.
Okay, Dad Bod Flounder is one of my favorites.
I mean, also, I did enjoy Sebastian's description of his puberty.
Right.
That was fun.
That character design, I just can't get over. It's so unhinged. All right, let's see. Number 24 for me.
What would it be like if Flounder went unhinged, Duke of Making a Mess? That would be something. And the time he became a werewolf thing doesn't count.
Oh, God. Number 24 for me, this is where we're going to kind of differ a little bit. It's Brother Bear 2. Which I believe is about 10 spots up, roughly, from where you had it.
About 9 spots, but yeah.
So here's my deal with Brother Bear 2. I'm just going to keep this simple. I fucking hate the original Brother Bear. I think it's... I've tried. It's one of those very frustrating... Sorry. It's one of those very frustrating movies where it's like, I want to like it more than I do. It's like, every time I try and watch it, I always get into the brother stuff. I always get into the actual, the culture of it. The setting, I think, is really nice. There are some genuinely good Phil Collins songs in there. But you know what? The second the transformation happens, it's just, I just can't deal with it. I cannot deal with Kenai. I cannot deal with Rut and Took, or I'm sorry, Kenai's okay. Kenai's fine, but I cannot deal with Dakota. That kid is just like one of the absolute most obnoxious kid sidekick characters in all of Disney. I cannot deal with Rut and Took. Rut and Took are just annoying as all hell. Guess who's in the sequel? A lot more. Yeah, this movie is just not made for me, man. And just as an asexual person, having the whole thing like hinging on like relationships and romances being like the end all be all of the entire plot, that's where I was kind of hinting where some of it just kind of made me a little bit uncomfortable, because I'm like, all right, Eisner, you're really, really pushing this whole like everyone needs to couple up and get together, and isn't romance great?
Eisner showing up on Valentine's Day like, hello?
Yeah, I did not like the fact that all of the plot just hinged on like, we just gotta couple everyone up. And yeah, the voice changes. I mean, I still think Kenai's voice change is just, it's just super off-putting. And obviously Joaquin Phoenix was one of the better voice actors in the original, so that's just like a big downgrade there. I mean, visually,
Kenai fully duh.
Yeah. Visually, I think this looks almost as good as any of them. Like, this might be on par with like the best looking of the DisneyToon movies. So visually, it looks great. But man, from a storytelling perspective and from the perspective of which characters they decided to just shove in our face, this ain't it, bro. I had a hard time with this one. And you know, a funny thing is that when I was doing the wheel, where I was, spinning the wheel to decide which order to watch these, I was genuinely excited to land on Brother Bear 2. And it didn't until maybe one of the last 4 or 5 of the selections. And so when I got there, I had like this whole buildup of it, like, okay, Brother Bear 2. I don't know anything about it. I've heard decent-ish things. It might be one of those things where, because I don't really love the original, I might actually give this one more of a fair shake. And none of those things ended up happening, for my opinion of the movie. Sadly, I quite disliked it. And I will say that we are kind of getting into territory here where there is not a lot to redeem about many of the other ones we have on the list, including one that you put in your top 20, which we'll get to. I'm still bitter about that. It's not
more than one.
Movie.
More than one, probably.
No, there's one in particular I'm thinking of, and I think you know which one it is.
But you liked Tarzan 2. I'm kidding.
All right, Monkey, what is your number 24? And you know what, Monkey, I need to, what the fuck? There's like a lot of like activity going on right outside my house, so I need to like kind of peep through the curtains really quick just to make sure it's nothing that's like involving me. But what is your number 24? I can still hear you.
Yeah, it's not the cast of Brother Bear coming to talk to you.
Oh God! Hey, we heard you were talking shit about us, eh?
Yeah, like that bit.
Nope, there's one random guy singing in his car, but I don't think it has anything to do with me. Okay, number 24, Monkey.
Okay, 24 is where I wound up putting Pocahontas 2: Journey to a New World, aka the IP with absolutely zero historical baggage whatsoever.
And this is actually going to be my 25. So, yeah, we kind of have it pretty synced up.
Yeah, so, it's... I can't speak for the degree of the inaccuracies in this movie. I wonder if anyone's ever gone to that link they provide in the credits. Or if that thing is still there, but... one of the... Like, I put this in, like, I guess if you try to do the principle of, is the remaining product still well-made and entertaining if you can adjust for the problematic stuff, in a not the worst category for these films, I suppose, things happened in it.
You know what? We are getting to the point in this ranking where things happened in the plot. That is a plus.
Yeah, it's I enjoyed John Smith's in in this one, like with the
I
character.
enjoyed the Battle of the Johns. I call it the Battle of the Johns, Monkey. The two Johns are trying to battle out to be who is the most lame and boring.
There were a couple decent lines in there, like when John Rolfe says something about, well, where are manners? And Pocahontas is like, since you're new here, I don't expect you to have them. Sick burn. You know, I can't say no to how can they appreciate my culture if they don't see it.
That burn would be worthy of like that one meme where it's like all the kids in the schoolyard just going like, oh.
My memory of the sequence is fuzzy, but one of my notes is, how much did Pocahontas do in the ship climax?
Oh. My memory is fuzzy too, because this was literally the first one I watched for the marathon.
Yeah, like we've said, I went chronologically, so this was early on. I wasn't a fan of the London song, despite the random Mrs. Puff cameo. The song "The Entertainer" with the Entertainers was giving me "Love Never Dies" flashbacks.
Oh dear! Oh god!
So
there is one song I kind of like in here. I think "Where Do I Go From Here" is kind of like, it's got a nice melody. It's got a nice build. I could see it being an I Want song in an actual Disney movie if they really wanted to have it there. Yeah. It would certainly be one of the weaker I Want songs, but I think it would fit in.
Yeah, and I did get a laugh at Gene Stapleton turning the picture upside down, and then when Flit is being a sippy chicken. Those got laughs out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So how about you? How was your journey to the new world?
God. Painful.
I mean, we all know you married Cocoam, but...
Well, yeah, that goes without saying. Jesus Christ. Let's not bring that back. People aren't going to know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, redacting it.
Should I marry?
Just like Kristen Bale redacted Cocoam. Oh! That was mean.
Yeah, for me, I think the best thing about this movie is just the fact that David Ogden Stiers is back as Radcliffe. You know me, I've always really liked Radcliffe. Is just like,
even if we didn't see how he glitters in this one.
Yeah, I feel like he's actually a little bit more effective as a villain in this movie, which is kind of weird. I do like the setup with the bear and like basically like Radcliffe knowing that Pocahontas can't help but kind of like make a scene when the bear gets like, I think that's like a legitimately kind of cunning evil plan. You know what I mean? It's kind of taking someone's emotional weakness and using it against them. Like that's effective to me as a villain move. Honestly, out of all these movies, that might be one of the most effective plays that a villain makes out of all these movies, I think.
Also, like, part of me was like, during the party scene, I'm like, please tell me everybody at this party is voiced by David Ogden Stiers.
Oh my god. I mean, I don't know. The animation is certainly not great. It's not like Hunchback 2 levels of bad, but it's definitely a downgrade from the first movie. We're not at the level where these movies look practically as good as the originals in some areas yet. It still definitely has some growing pains to go. Let's see what else needs to be said about this thing. Yeah, like I said, I do enjoy the Battle of the Two Johns. I do think that it's very funny that Pocahontas's two love interests are just two very, very, very bland white men named John. Like, that is just... I'm honestly surprised that more people don't meme on that.
I'm trying to remember now. Was this before or after Titanic? Because this would be the other movie with Billy Zane on a boat.
Oh my god, I forget that he's Billy Zane. Jesus Christ. John Rolfe is like so much more milquetoast than Billy Zane is in Titanic. That's kind of crazy that they're the same person. Oh man. Also,
I mean, he could have come to at least, and yet he didn't come to any location like, I've come to see the door to this world. It's tied to the darkness.
Oh god, right. ZNK says this is the year after, 898. Okay, that's good to know.
Okay.
Also, I need to point out, I'm pretty sure I brought this up before, but when I first heard that the Angry Video Game Nerd's real name was James Rolfe, guess
You
what?
thought of this movie?
Yeah, I thought of John Rolfe.
Yes.
I was like, what is he, an ascendant of John Rolfe?
Well, what if instead of John Rolfe in this movie, it was a particular other Rolfe? Hello, Ed boys!
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. All right. Yeah, I think that's about enough attention to give Pocahontas to. It's, again, I feel like Pocahontas too, it's like we're kind of veering into territory where it is like pretty objectively bad, but there's still a couple good things I can say about it, which as we get deeper in, I might not be able to. Which, again, there's 2 movies on this list that are in the thumbnail, no less. 4 of them, technically, that were on your, Jesus Christ, I didn't realize that are on your, 10, 11 through 20. So we'll get there. That'll be a fun discussion to have. Anyway, so yeah, that was my number 25. So let's switch it around. What is your number 25?
My number 25, I guess mixed feelings about placing it on this spot, but Lady and the Tramp 2 Scamp's Adventure.
Oh, man. Okay, because I know you're kind of an animal person. I'm genuinely kind of surprised it's down this low.
Yeah, well, also, this is out of all of these movies, this one is probably the most meme for me. And the bloom might be coming off the rose a little by this point, and it's like, I can only defend it so much. But yeah, so my history with this movie is that my first time watching it was when Escape from Walt Disney live tweeted it, and it was like in my top 3 of the live tweets that account has done. It was like such a an enjoyable experience. It became a laugh when I think about it kind of thing, and it's some sort of my feeling. I was like, oh, ironic enjoyment mixed with it's not that bad, and I'd have it on in the background. And oddly enough, he live tweeted that movie on July 2nd, which is when the movie begins. So so every July 2nd, I've put this movie on.
Oh, nice. I approve of that.
Yeah,
that's a tradition.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I had the good fortune to see Chaz Palminteri live doing his one-man show of Bronx Tale. Excellent performance, would recommend. And I know I mentioned this in our group chat, but at one point I was like, because it was taking a while for me to actually book the seat. So I was like, oh God, is the deciding factor going to be that it's a chance to see the villain dog from Lady and the Tramp 2 Scamp's Adventure? It wasn't the deciding factor, but that thought occurred. And yes, during the performance, there were times where I was hearing Buster.
Right.
Yeah, and also something that was just so striking to me, if I may expunge on this detail, was the weird off-brand Curious George-ness I was getting, of the 06 Curious George series, where the song at the beginning felt a bit kind of like it would have been one of the weird rare times where that show breaks out into a song, which is rare but weird. This one felt kind of there. And then you have Jim Cummings as a different Italian restaurant owner using the exact same voice for his Curious George Italian restaurant owner.
Oh, really?
And then Jeff... yeah. And welcome, Giorgio. How is your friend Capello Giallo Grande? Nifty red, white, and blue, look. The exact same voice. Even Debbie Derryberry, making some similar cat sounds, the same kind of cat sounds. And also Jeff Bennett doing just off Man with the Yellow Hat voice for Tramp, and even saying to the point of saying things like, when you live in a house, you got to be clean. Don't get me wrong, he is arguably the definitive Man with the Yellow Hat. Okay. But that voice isn't Tramp.
So I've got to say, Monkey, I feel like you're letting this whole Curious George connection kind of cloud your judgment just a little bit.
I'm not saying cloud my judgment. It's just an odd thing. It's just one of the weirdnesses of this movie.
Tramp is one of
I'm
the
not saying it improves the movie. Honestly, kind of the opposite.
I don't know. I like his arc. I like the fact that we go back to his shady past and he kind of has to grapple with it.
Yeah, I'm not talking character arc necessarily, just the voice work. It's just an odd choice.
I don't really have the Man in the Yellow Hat connection, so it didn't really bother me on that level.
That's fair. but yeah, so and of course some stuff in the movie that I can enjoy, like some of the songs kind of work for me, even if it's just sort of like some of my ironic enjoyment leading to unironic enjoyment. Can't disagree with appreciating Angel and her backstory.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of like a very, I think I said this on the last part, but I feel like the Angel storyline is like a very, 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 very light version of what Courage did with the Mask episode.
Yeah, you did say
Got some shades of that in there.
Well, okay. I don't think I have too much else to say on Lady and the Tramp 2's Game's Adventure. So, ironic and unironic enjoyment that's maybe fading a little, but nevertheless,
all right. Fair enough.
I've had fun with it.
All right, let's see the comments here. Let's see. Z and K says, anyone notice this one junkyard dog that keeps going in and out of the movie?
Oh, the silent one?
I keep thinking it's a Mickey Rooney dog, but it's got a gold colored cone.
Yeah, I know who you mean. It's the dog that doesn't talk.
Let's see. Having the dog catcher be Don Knotts, that seems like a throwback to 70s Disney move that's trying to do one from the 50s. Yeah, I don't know.
That's something
Go ahead.
That's something I appreciate about the original Lady and the Tramp is how the dog catchers aren't bad people.
Sure.
They're neutral. They're just doing their jobs and whatnot.
I feel like Don Knotts being a celebrity guest star is definitely a 70s thing.
It's not Don Knotts.
But I way, way, way associate Don Knotts more than anything else with Andy Griffith. And Andy Griffith is a show that just marinates in 50s culture. So for that reason, I always kind of associate Don Knotts with the 50s more than anything else.
It's not actually Don Knotts. It's just Jeff Bennett.
Well, I know it's not. It's modeled after Don Knotts. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Still one of my favorite things in that movie car museum that I went to in Gatlinburg. Number one, seeing the live action Flintstones car. That was amazing. And it was right there when you first walked in. But the number two most exciting thing was Barney Fife's police car from the Andy Griffith Show with Don Knotts' signature on the steering wheel.
Yeah, Z and K, you point out how the singing voices are Herc and Meg. I know, but the crazy thing is, it's the wrong Herc for Meg. So it's almost a Hercules reunion, but it's not. Also, it's not. I think I'm pretty sure Roger Bart had already won a Tony for playing a dog at this point. I think he won a Tony for that, for Snoopy.
Right.
Yeah, Frosty the Snowman is a dog as well. It's kind of funny. You went with Frosty before Patrick.
True.
And Bronson Pinchot, Kathy Moriarty, Mickey Rooney. Yeah, quite a selection of junkyard dogs.
As far as Patrick goes, the Patrick voice actor, the one that will always stand out to me is the random guard from Hunchback. I mean, he's even kind of designed to be vaguely like Patrick.
I'm gonna cut off your Hunchback and nail it to your door.
Oh, God. Z&K says.
Oh, intentional curveball. Okay. What a game of fetch we've had.
Well played, Z&K. All right. Okay, so
26?
Yeah, 26 for me is going to be Atlantis, Milo Returns. It's
low.
Look, it's not terrible, but it's not good, man. And this is when we're really getting into for me, I so prefer movies that are actual movies and not just.
Remember when Tarzan did this? That's my nickname for it.
Right. Yeah, it's not just
so if it's pre-existing stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not just blatant. That's absolutely the reason why something like Pocahontas 2 is ahead of Atlantis 2 is because objectively Pocahontas 2 might be worse, honestly, but it still does original stuff. It still progresses the story. Now, here's the thing with Atlantis 2 is that I like parts of it. I very much like the idea of expanding the Atlantis universe out. And I think this movie does a decent job of that. I like, in theory, the idea of giving the characters more fleshed out personalities through the form of a long form TV series. I think the problem is that with this movie being shorter than the original movie, the characters, if anything, get kind of diluted here. So it's one of those things where it's like, I definitely wonder if this were to be turned into a series, like, would we get like, you know, like a Vinny-centric episode, a Sweet-centric episode, an Audrey-centric episode? You know what I mean? Like, I really feel like this being an actual cartoon would really, really benefit it. I think it's got a cool premise. I don't like the framing device, even though I do give them effort for at least trying. I think the framing device in something like Kronk's New Groove is a little bit more palatable just because, you know, it does come together in the end in a really memorable way. Whereas this is kind of just like, okay, we went through these 3 random adventures, and now I guess I'm just going to bring Atlantis up to the surface, I guess. Sure. You know, not a lot of connective tissue there. Monkey, as I believe I pointed this out last time, I cannot goddamn stand that glass case joke. I hate it. Kill it with fire. I hate comedy like that.
Lucky for you, there's no saying about throwing stones at glass cases.
Oh my god. But why would a spear need to be connected by a glass case? Oh, God. It just makes Kita's character into an idiot when she's not. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm so fixated on that one particular element, but it really, really bothers me.
It
also,
happens.
The animation is ass. And I feel like that's like, I almost feel like I can forgive something like Hunchback 2 for being ass, even though the animation in the original Hunchback is obviously fantastic, more than I can forgive something like this, just because the original Atlantis was so stylized. Like, that style and that sort of fluidity was part of that movie's identity. And this movie just, I mean, the character design still kind of, you know, they obviously, you can't erase the Mike Mignola out of a Mike Mignola character design. But man, the fluidity of the animation, the backgrounds, the CGI integration, which was a huge selling point of the original, it's all gone. I mean, this very clearly looks, feels, and sounds like it was made to be a TV show. So, yeah, a couple decent ideas here and there. I do like seeing this world again. Like I said, my favorite element of this movie is just the world building from the Atlantis mythos. I think it's cool to see other locations in this universe. I would have liked to have seen this as a TV show. I think if this was a TV show, I would genuinely watch it. But as a 3-episode pilot that never went anywhere, it's kind of like bordering on that Clone Wars the movie kind of vibe. It's like, man, this is a rough start, but it could get better. You know what I mean? All right. Let's see. Kogia says a lot of cartoon shows have ongoing storylines, so the episodes can be put together and made into a film. I guess that Atlantis 2 is an example of that. I mean, a lot of them, as far as like what you're talking about, a lot of them will do the thing much like Clone Wars did, where they'll take like the first few episodes of the show, stitch them together, and be like, here, it's a movie now.
Return of Jafar.
Right, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Not, you know, again, it's like we're getting into territory where there's not, like, there are some things that I can actively compliment, but not really so much. There's nothing in here that I really love or appreciate. It's all sort of various shades of mediocrity for me. So yeah, it is how it is. All right, number 27 for you, Monkey.
Or my 26?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, you're 26. Yeah,
it's good. My 26. This is where I wound up putting Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, aka hand me that second nickel, because this is the other movie in this ranking series that made my mind think of both the Stu Pickles chocolate pudding bit and the final episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, man, that's some hyper-specific references.
Yeah. Do you want to know what they were now or later?
Sure, now. Let's do it.
Okay, because what brought Cogsworth into, okay, we'll do the Christmas thing was the idea of pudding. So my mind just imagined Cogsworth ordering Stu to get the chocolate pudding, and that was delightful.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I can see that.
And for the final Courage episode, the way Forte's animated had me kind of joking like, hey, when is he gonna look at the camera and whisper, "You're not perfect"?
Right. Oh yeah, no, I can totally see it. The animation is very similar and disquieting. Yeah.
Yeah, I have other Forte quips, but we'll get there. But yeah, okay, so yeah, I'll just say it then. The animation on Forte is very satisfying.
Not even necessarily good, right? But satisfying is a good word for it.
Yeah.
Because it is very
even if it's not quite on the level of
good somehow.
Yeah, it somehow blends well.
Mm-hmm.
Which you could say that for the CG in the original movie as well, but this is a bit of a different beast, or organ, as it were.
Pun intended.
Oh, I actually wasn't going for a pun there.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wasn't going for that pun. But anyway, so yeah, I put this on a below okay tier. My memory of the film after watching it and trying to think back was kind of just Belle saying Christmas, just saying Christmas a bunch.
If that's not Stockholm behavior, I don't know what is. Like, yes, Christmas, let me dwell on this one element of my old life that makes me feel joy in this terrible situation.
Yeah, even that wasn't, I guess maybe not as Christmassy as the film could have been, or communicating what's so special about Christmas.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of lip service, but you're right. They don't really. Yeah,
I mean, I guess they mentioned hope, which they said hope, which I could see maybe tying into the Jesus story, but God, imagine if one of the enchanted objects was a manger set piece.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it felt a bit twee, I guess you could say. Obviously, not the Beast's greatest hour. Why is the Beast such a
Not the Beast's worst hour either.
Yeah. One of my notes was like,
you're right, he's not great here, but it'll get worse.
Absolutely. One of my notes was, how often in this ranking series is the Paranorman grandmas, they should just talk to each other, gonna be applicable? The Jewish axe is there for some reason. So plot thing. So
Angelique,
with Belle being
pointless.
Yeah. With Belle being, locked in the dungeon for breaking her promise not to leave the cat, but by this point she'd already broken her promise after the incident in the West Wing. Also, the way the intro scene is done with them I remember it differently. What if this movie had been done Rashomon style?
What do you mean?
That would have been like, it's everyone recounting the story, but I say it happened like this. I say it happened like this. Well, I say it happened like this.
You know what? I think that would have been fun. I could see that.
Yeah.
You know what? As a kid, I was kind of afraid of this movie just for the simple concept of I thought it was going to, because I didn't know it was going to be like a prequel, right? So I literally thought it was going to start with some fucked up event happening where everyone in the castle gets cursed again, and they have to go through the body horror of that.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, good old Tiki irrational childhood trauma.
Yeah. So my other Forte quips are that, with this Tim Curry character, he's chained to the spot so he can't run down the hall. If he wanted to ruin Christmas, he has a Paul Rubens character at his disposal. Send him to kidnap Santa again.
Mm-hmm.
And then where's Forte's wicked or twisted story? Also, is this the only Disney character who dies by effectively disembowelment?
It is a pretty brutal death when you think about it in the context of him previously being a human, isn't it?
Anyhow, I think that's the most I got to say for the Enchanted Christmas.
Okay. All right.
It doesn't have Giselle, but it's an Enchanted Christmas. And it's not the movie in this list with Patrick Dempsey.
Ooh, okay. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Always Sunny or not, but this is a good comparison to what you were talking about. Monkey's idea for the story sounds kind of like that one episode of It's Always Sunny, Who Got Dee Pregnant? Are you familiar with It's Always Sunny or not?
I have some ideas. I don't know about this particular episode. So is this
that kind of maybe like season 6-ish? So yeah, season 6 or 7, I want to say.
I still need to watch the original. I still need to watch the original Rashomon. That's on my list.
Z&K says, I guess you could count the Horn King with him being ripped apart by the cauldron. I mean, that is fair. Yeah.
Would be.
Yeah, it's season 6. Yeah. Okay. I need to, you know what? I got to the season with Fat Mac in Always Sunny where like the actor who plays Mac is just like, hey, I'm just going to put on like 50 pounds. And I'm like, oh, I'm having my own weight issues here. And I don't feel like watching a whole season of these mean-spirited fucks talk shit about a person's weight. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what sort of stopped It's Always Sunny dead in my tracks for me.
Yeah. I guess if it had been Keegan-Michael Key in a suit, you wouldn't have minded. But
dude, I still that fucking gag is just I don't care if it's insensitive. It's wonderful and it's totally Roald Dahl. I mean, for as problematic as Roald Dahl is, it is totally something that he would do.
Oh my god! Now I'm just picturing what if Keegan-Michael Key's Transformer character in Transformers 1 just got fatter as the movie progressed? God. He could be Fat Assatron.
I still like everyone's saying that movie's like really good. And I'm like, I genuinely like, I'm like, okay, I guess I will see it, but I'm not. It didn't.
I don't know if it hit for me quite as much as. Yeah, I saw it I did the early screening on the 14th. Even if it didn't quite hit as high for me, I still thought it was, nice one. Did have some really good moments in there, especially around the climax.
I feel like this year with movie critique, I feel like every goddamn, like you're not in the horror movie community like I am, obviously. Monkey, I swear to God, every horror movie that's come out in 2024, I see the same, like, this is the scariest movie of the year. This is the best horror movie of 2024. And I'm like, guys, they can't all be the best.
They might have a point with Reagan.
Anyway. Oh god! Oh jeez! Oh man. Okay, I'm just gonna say straight up, my dad is very interested in seeing Reagan in theaters. He's asked me to go multiple times, and I'm like, nope.
The one that I've seen of Reagan is just where Dennis Quaid says, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," and he's horrible. Like says it so horribly. I'd prefer the room acting, thank you.
Oh god. ZNK, just really quick. How mean-spirited is the Fat Mac stuff? Because I'm only into the first couple episodes. It was enough to kind of make me hesitant to watch the rest of the season, but like, I don't know, like, because I have heard that it's one of the best seasons, so I'm definitely going to keep up with it. And you know what? Now that I'm off the medication that was causing the weight gain, maybe I'll feel better about it. Who knows? All right.
Anyway, back to these Disney movies.
Indeed. Okay, so it's
my number 27 is Reagan. I kid.
Oh my god, dude.
You know, I forgot to say, but I was gonna joke at the beginning of this series that my number 1 is Lady and the Tramp 2 Scam's Adventure, but I forgot. Like I said, it's the meme movie. So your 27, I think we're at?
Yeah, my 27, I really don't have a ton to say about it. It's Springtime with Rue. I feel like I pretty much already said my piece on it. It's just way in that kind of like, I am watching media that is specifically meant for children, not families, but young children. And that did not make me feel good about how I was spending my time, Monkey. just by and large. And yes, Rabbit is a huge asshole. And you know what? Rabbit is an asexual icon, I will have you know. Yes, I'm pulling that mostly from the Too Smart for Strangers review, but still. But I will not have my boy Rabbit be slandered. I mean, in all seriousness, I do think that Rabbit is one of the most relatable characters for me. Is just like an uppity person who gets wound up really easily. You know what I mean? Like my personality traits, it's like on my good days, I'm Rabbit. I'm on my bad days, I am Eeyore. You know what I mean? And so it's like seeing Rabbit be this antagonistic is not fun. Seeing something that's this overtly just like, this is media meant to babysit your kids, not fun. The best part was definitely what you're talking about, the time jump. But it was kind of just too little too late at that point. Yeah, there's a couple good pathos-filled lines.
Tigger being mistaken for a ghost was fun.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know. This one is just kind of like a nothing burger of a movie to me. There's nothing in it that's like overtly offensive, but there's also just nothing in it for me to like latch onto and be like, yes, that was a really good element to that movie. So it's just kind of like, what?
It's not where it could have been.
Yeah. So it's just kind of circling the drain for me, kind of like, not quite at the bottom three, but close to it.
I'm trying to think, did Piglet sing it all in Springtime with Rue? Because I know Jeff Bennett does his singing voice, and this is an Easter thing, so eggs.
Yeah, eggs. Oh God.
Okay, so should we go to my 27 then?
Okay, that's it's nice to know that they're not constantly punching down, because honestly, as fun as Always Sunny is, punching down humor is kind of one of their things. So yeah. Especially the episode that reveals how he got fat. All right. I love the Cinema Snob reference. Thank you, Code Geass. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it. ZNK says it was nice to see the book elements come back, playing with the pages, text and narrator, that whole element.
Yeah, this and Heffalump Halloween movie. You have Christopher Robin's room, but no Christopher Robin. Odd.
True. Yeah, I do like the onomatopoeia joke. I will say that much. That was fun. Fun.
ZNK, I know it's John Fiedler. I just meant for singing. So maybe it was a sort of speak where he could get away with singing. I just couldn't remember if he had any full-on singing.
Okay.
But anyway, so
I believe
my 27.
Your number 27, or you didn't already do
my 27? Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So my 27 is, this was a tough one to rank. Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas, aka one of my big takeaways was Christmas elves fuck.
Oh God. Just like the Oklahoma that fucks.
I mean, like these Christmas elves, oh man, they procreate.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. That was kind of a forced reference.
I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, God, if this thing ended like the Oklahoma that fucks. Anyway. So, this is the one I grew up a bit with more. I remember my first time watching it was on a hotel TV in San Francisco.
You grew up with this more than Once Upon a Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay, that shows our age.
Like
it's like, tell me I'm 5 years old. I'm 5 years older than you without telling me I'm 5 years older than you.
Yeah, like this is the one I had on DVD.
Uh-huh.
And see, like I said, a tough one to rank. Like it's not god awful or anything, but it's not quite enough to rise in the ranks. Maybe there's an awkwardness to it, possibly some coldness, maybe not a full enough whole as a piece in comparison to the Enchanted Christmas. Yeah, I feel like, I guess inverse of the two of us with the ice skating thing was maybe a bit weird to have Minnie and Daisy being so antagonistic. My biggest critique is probably just in the Donald segment. I don't think he was being that selfish. He was having a bit of a rough day and he needed a break.
You know what? I always kind of feel like that's Donald's thing, though, is that everyone is giving him too much shit for stuff that's not really his fault. I kind of feel like that's just Donald's lot in life.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, it wasn't exactly a good move of him to bash all the display window stuff, but and it's still a fun sequence when he's hearing the song everywhere. But you let him not go to the mall, Daisy. He needed some time.
No, I will say that Daisy is just wholly unpleasant in this thing. I mean, Daisy Duck isn't exactly the beacon of pleasantries in the Disney universe, but still.
Yeah. And then the final segment is Gary Come Home before Gary Come Home.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm on some more positive notes. Jeff Bennett and Jim Cummings as the two reindeer. They're enjoyable. It's a neat depiction of Santa's list. And, of course, Jailbreak Bob is an MVP.
Sure.
Yeah. Also, funny enough, this year is going to be the anniversary of the sleigh crash of '64.
Oh,
can't say for sure because we don't know which century, but it is nevertheless.
God. All right. Zine K says this might not be the case, but the whole thing felt like a byproduct of the Eisner. We gotta be more like DreamWorks. More cynical, all
I
CGI.
could see that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So next up is going to be my number 28, and it is the first film that caught this marathon dead in its tracks for me. I think this movie is so fucking boring. Cinderella 2 Dreams Come True. I'm sorry, man. I honestly, even the one that everyone likes with Anastasia, I'm just kind of like, it's okay. Like, I don't really think that we have enough time with her and the baker to, actually develop like a full relationship there. I feel like everyone's going to say this probably, but if Cinderella 2's whole thing was just the Anastasia stuff, I feel like it would have been maybe not the best sequel, but a perfectly good sequel.
That's a thought. And then you get Cinderella 3.
Right. I hate the first storyline. I isn't this the one where it was your favorite?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. The first storyline for me was just like the most like bullshit. Like, oh, it's just princesses. Like princesses need to be polite and blah blah blah. Well, I don't want to be that kind of princess. All right.
Yeah, I can't defend this hair. Ew.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. And then also, I've kind of said it before, and I'll say it again. Jock is like the simpiest simp to have ever simped for Cinderella in his second storyline, where it's just like, I want to turn into a human so I can help Cinderella even more. And that whole thing is a little off-putting. I don't necessarily like the design of Jock as a human. I think it's a little uncanny. Yeah, I don't know, man. This whole fucking movie, like I said, even in the Anastasia stuff clearly the strongest element of the movie, but by the same token, I feel like it needs to be more built up than it is. I feel like the tension is just not really there. The reason why they quote unquote break up is kind of ridiculous. That breakup. Yeah. So I don't even know what to say, man. This movie is just like I said, it kind of caught me dead in its tracks. I had a hard time even getting through it. I think I needed to. I needed to like have at least 3 or 4 sittings with this one. Also, one of the things I couldn't stand in this movie, and I need to point it out because it was just very much like oh, holy shit, I am very much watching a thing that is made specifically for young children, is when the mice finish the book at the end and they're running around the castle trying to find Cinderella and they're singing Bippity Boppity Boo. I'm just like, oh, oh, the mice singing bippity boppity boo and their mouse voices, and like, oh no, it's just, it's too much. It's too kiddie, man.
Someone straps you to one of those Clockwork Orange chairs, makes you watch this movie.
Oh God. Okay, let's see. Z&K says, I wonder how much Tress and Ruthie's casting as stepsisters came about from how they played their Minnie and Daisy dynamic. I could see that being a factor. I definitely could.
I could see that.
Yeah. Especially with Tress as the pink one and Ruthie is the more cynical one with the black hair and blue bow. Yeah, for sure. Human Chalk's design is just knockoff Ichabod. Facts. You're not wrong.
Man, what if Human Jack's voice was just a Bing Crosby impression?
He can't speak in complete sentences. He can only speak in like ba 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 boos.
So I'll take this belt off and put the smackdown on you.
Oh my God. Jesus. Okay, you're number 28.
My 28, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2.
I mean, I totally get it. I am just a stan of Michael McKean, so he carried a lot of weight for this thing for me.
And, maybe I'd have more to say on my thoughts on this movie if it was more fresh in my memory. But, so, this funny story. So, as a child, I saw an ad for this on whatever VHS, and there was a part where Jennifer Love Hewitt says how you'd want to watch it again and again. And that's why I never got the movie, was because I thought I'd be stuck watching it on repeat forever.
Oh God. Which also, of all these movies to like make that claim too, you're really gonna put it on Hunchback 2? Really?
This was the one where they said you'll want to watch it again and again.
Yeah, that's just not accurate, my guy.
Yeah. But yeah, so, going throughout this series, these films, a lot of times I wasn't holding them that much to the standards of their predecessors. I was like taking them as they are. And this was the first and possibly only time where I was like, yeah, this isn't meeting the majesty of the original.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, maybe some story elements kind of work. Some didn't. Just not a strong piece, I guess. I think one of the things for me is that, like I was saying about how Christmas being kind of bland buzzwordy and in The Enchanted Christmas, here their bland buzzword of choice is love. And I guess for me personally, that's more eye-rolly.
What's funny is that as an asexual person, I don't get as offended by this one as I do Brother Bear 2. I can't even logically figure that one out.
I can't deny the, even if I thought he could have been a bit more so, the villain does have some of that fabulous and vanity that could get him reclaimed as iconic.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not iconic in the same way that someone like Forte is iconic, but he's got that same kind of energy to him.
Yeah.
Just very literally in love with himself in a very sexual way.
Yeah, I had fun with that. Let's see, anything else?
Do you buy the actual like romance between Quasi and Jennifer Love Hewitt at all? Because I like I said, I
possibly. It's also been a while, so I don't entirely remember. But
yeah, I didn't really like the meet cute of it all. The whole like them just throwing dad puns at each other. But I think once they get into it with each other, I kind of like them together.
So my quip is that Paul Candle came back to voice Clopin, and Esmeralda and Phoebus have a son now, so at some point did they sing, "Do you think it's all right to leave the boy with Uncle Clopin?" Well, you probably could trust Clopin.
All right. I would trust Clopin, although he did try and hang our main characters.
True. Well, why didn't they say so?
All right, is that about it for Hunchback 2?
I think so.
Okay. All right, my number 29, and literally the only reason it's not at the bottom, Monkey, is because it's
Just because
not
of the
an
other thing.
actual fucking movie. Princess Enchanted Tales. I couldn't, in my
Dreams come
heart of
true.
hearts, put it at the very bottom of the list because I feel like it's almost unfair because it's not a movie. This is a 45-minute thing meant to put on to entertain toddlers. I don't even have that much.
Chickens.
I don't have much to add about that. It's just like, just objectively, I feel like by its very nature, it's got to be towards the bottom. It genuinely shocks me that it did not make your bottom 10.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, the runtime, the nature of it, the fact that it was going to be like a series of Disney Enchanted Tales, and then they just made this one. It's just all over the place, man. As we kind of said before, I do think the one thing that I will give this movie is that I do like seeing a new Aurora story. I think it's kind of cool to spend a little bit more time in the Sleeping Beauty universe because, given all the time that we spent with like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, etc., and Aladdin, it's nice. Like, give Aurora some love. She's one of the certainly one of the less represented Disney princesses. But
I just got an idea.
And I don't even.
I just got an idea.
Yeah.
For April Fool's Day, retheme the Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough so it's the story of this Aurora movie.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Oh, you actually enjoyed that idea. I'm surprised.
No, I do. I mean, I don't think it would ever happen. But
it probably helps that it's not permanent.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's like the one thing I can kind of be like, yeah, it's nice to get something Sleeping Beauty related. It's not exactly compelling as a Sleeping Beauty story at all, not particularly. But it's
she's not
nice
as in character as she could be.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. This is really where I was just I even though it was only 45 minutes long, just by the very nature of it being not a movie, it was very hard for me to get through this. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe we should co-write a Hey a Movie parody, but about how you feel on this movie. Not a movie!
God. All right, and I'm kind of starting to get the sense that you and I have the same bottom pick, hopefully.
Hopefully, I guess.
Right.
So, with my 29, oh, buddy, let's get ready to diverge some more. The Fox and the Hound 2.
Oh
AKA,
my God,
because
wow.
what this IP really needed was Banjo Goober.
Wow, I mean, like, I totally get that this doesn't fit with the original movie. I totally get this. But I don't know, man. I think it's a perfectly fun little Disney dog movie. Is it just the attachment to the original that you're having a hard time with?
I don't even... No, that's not it. I mean, it doesn't help, but that's not it. But... maybe it was just a vibes thing or something, because I low-key irrationally hated this one.
I think this might be your equivalent to My Brother Bear 2.
Maybe. Because I guess one standard of my feelings on quality of these movies is that, the first song was wrapping up, and for some reason, I felt ready to turn it off. I didn't even understand why. Like, it's not... Like, this isn't as bad as what I put at number 30. Why am I getting these feelings? And the rest of the film was just so not enjoyable for me. Just what? Like I said, I guess the vibes just didn't mesh well. How do dogs have the authority to quit and fire each other from their band?
I mean, that element is a little bit silly, yes.
I mean, credit where it's due. Reba McEntire and Vicki Lewis are given decent performances. There were a couple lines I liked, like, busy as a farmer with one hoe and 2 rattlesnakes. Or, why does it always rain when days go wrong? So, yeah.
Harmless is the word that I would use to describe this movie.
Maybe.
Well, apparently not for you in your case.
I don't know about. I mean, I guess I can't quite disagree with Harmless, but wow, it just really didn't hit, I guess, or really missed. And okay, otherwise not exactly a quality indicator, but I just want to know. There's a part where Todd says, "Nothing a fox can't fix," and Bob Iger just couldn't unhear it, I guess.
Right. God.
Okay.
All right, well.
So are we ready for number 30?
That was definitely a surprise, but yeah, let's get to number 30.
Yeah, the moment you ranked it as high as it did, I was like, "Oh boy."
Right. And we have the same one, which is good. After all this discourse, we have landed on the same bottom one, which I feel like is so Belle's Magical World. Fuck this movie, dude.
I remember my first time actually watching this. It was a couple days after Christmas 2019. It's late, like 11 something at night, less than an hour before midnight. Disney Plus is all fresh and such as a product available to us, and I decided on a whim to put on this movie. It wasn't good. Yeah, for like the first half or so with this viewing, I'm like, I'm not quite having those same feels as much. Then we got to that Feather Duster flirting with Cogsworth bit happened, and I'm like, do I have to watch the whole thing?
But the thing is, that's not even. I feel like this movie gets progressively worse as it goes along. Because I feel like the baby bird storyline, that storyline is really where the Beast character assassination happens, man.
Yeah. The first story wasn't good either, but yeah, that third story, that's like. Yeah, that's what was cementing it below the Enchanted Christmas for me.
The Feather Duster storyline, that was where I was kind of like, oh, fuck, this is hard to get through. This is boring.
Yeah, I feel like the Feather Duster going evil, that should have been more fun than it was.
True. But then of course, we'll get into the Beast being just a huge asshole about a baby bird. I'm like, nope, fuck this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I did get a laugh out of the smash cut from, "Are you hungry?" "I am hungry!"
Oh my God.
and
just objectively, I feel like this is absolutely the Beauty and the Beast movie that has the worst, like Belle is clearly in Stockholm Syndrome mode throughout most of the runtime of this.
Yeah, thing. Like very not healthy in this one. In this
like
movie,
even the first storyline, they've got that awful message of like, well, maybe I should just apologize to him.
Yeah, with her thinking she was in the wrong. No, I mean, was there a cleaner way to tell that message in that story? Well, maybe I would have appreciated the song more if the story was better told.
Mm-hmm.
And look. One of the few positives, April Winchell is the chandelier, some enjoyable voice work there, even as much as you're going to spoil the mood. Boil the food! That tried to get in the way.
God.
Also, and, trying to hold the again, like, with these movies, trying to have, okay, the animation is what it is. But this one, like, granted, apparently the version on Disney Plus is choppier for some reason. But that was distracting.
Fucking Disney Plus, man. Disney Plus is just when it comes to like resolution issues and stuff, it's not great.
Cough, cough, James and the Giant Peach.
Right.
Yeah, Belle's Magical World. It's not it's the low of these movies.
Yeah, I feel like it's the one that has the least actual entertainment value mixed with the objectively worst life lessons and biggest character assassination. So it's just kind of like a perfect storm of bad, man. Like, honestly.
Yeah, as I've kind of hinted at with my last entry or two, it's like one of the things that gets this stuff really low is, do I want to turn it off?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And this
one, the answer throughout the runtime was abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not surprised. Honestly, I came into this pretty quickly on my wheel. I want to say maybe within the first 10 or so. So it was like in the first third of my films that I watched.
Yeah, same here, chronologically, but yeah.
And I knew. I mean, I knew. I was like, there's no way that anything here is going to be worse than this. I knew right off the bat as soon as I finished this movie, I knew it would be the worst one. All right.
Not Cogsworth's greatest hour either, come to think of it.
It's literally not anyone. Does anyone in this movie actually have good character moments?
That's a good question.
Maybe
potentially Lumiere, but no. I mean, at least the wardrobe actually got to be in this one after being absent from Enchanted Christmas.
You know what? I'll give that to the movie. The wardrobe has a couple nice scenes.
Yeah, the wardrobe's actually in it.
That is like the faintest praise possible. Belle's Magical World. Well, at least the wardrobe's in it.
Okay.
Okay, ZK's pointing out that the James resolution being darker has been like that since the Blu-ray. Because
is that so? Yeah, that explains it.
Aquatad says high praise for Belle's Magical World. Oh man. I mean, the thing is, this movie is very much like not even in that kind of like so bad it's good territory. It's just bad. It's just dumb, to quote Glass Onion.
Just replace the Edward Norton character with this movie. Wow, that is fun.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so then, what we didn't see in Glass Onion was the part after all of it when, when he got turned into a horrible beast.
Oh, God. All right. Do you have your whole list in front of you, Monkey? Like the whole thing?
Technically, yeah.
Like it'll take a little, like 1 to 30.
Yep. Okay,
let's go ahead and count down from the worst to the best because we started with the best. Let's go the opposite direction here.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll do it in chunks of 3. So just so that or chunks of 10. I mean, so like just so we're not reciting the whole list. Okay. So for me. Number 30, Belle's Magical World. Number 29, Princess Enchanted Tales, not a movie. Number 28, Cinderella 2, Dreams Come True. Number 27, Springtime with Rue. Number 26, Atlantis, Milo Returns. Number 25, Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World. Number 24, The Brother Bear That Fucks. Number 23, Twice Upon a Christmas. Number 22, Pooh's Heffalump Halloween Movie. Number 21, Krunk's New Groove.
Hey, my lord here. 30, Belle's Magical World. 29, The Fox and the Hound 2. 28, The Hunchback in Notre Dame 2. 27, Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. 26, Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. Number 25, Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Adventure. Number 24, Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World. Number 23, The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea. 22, Mulan 2. 21, Springtime with Rue.
Isn't it funny how close Springtime with Rue is to Springtime with Hitler?
Yeah.
I just want to point that out once. All right. For me, my middle tier is number 20, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2. Number 19, The Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea. Number 18, Return of Jafar. Number 17, an extremely goofy movie. Number 16, Fox and the Hound 2. Number 15, Pooh's Grand Adventure. Number 14, Belle's Enchanted Christmas. Hello, Tim Curry, lifting this movie on your back.
Hello.
Number 13, Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Adventure. I really hate how many adventures there are in these titles, honestly.
Oh, look at the Disney parks to get a ton of adventures.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's not like we have a full land for adventure or anything. Heavens no.
Yeah,
Number
now
12.
and because of the Fox merger, they have the Adventures of Ned Flanders.
Oh dear. All right. Number 12, Ariel's Beginning. Number 11, Once Upon a Christmas.
My 20, Disney Princess Enchanted Tales, Follow Your Dreams.
Oh god,
19,
that's the
The
full
Little Mermaid,
title.
Ariel's
Oh
Beginning.
god. I'm sorry.
19, Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginning. 18, Cinderella 2, Dreams Come True. 17, Atlantis, Milo's Return. 16, Kronk's New Groove. 15, Brother Bear 2. 14, Pooh's Heffalump Halloween Movie. 13, Pooh's Grand Adventure, The Search for Christopher Robin. 12, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, The Three Musketeers. 11, Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch.
All right, and my top 10 are going to be number 10, Mulan 2. I literally think I'm the only person on the internet that puts this in my top 10. Number 9, The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Number 8, 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure. Well, at least it's a London adventure. Let's see. Number 7, Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time. Number 6, The Lion King 1.5. Number 5, Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch. Number 4, Bambi 2. Number 3, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, The Three Musketeers. Number 2, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. And number 1, Tarzan 2.
And then my top 10 is number 10, The Return of Jafar. Number 9, The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Number 8, 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure. Number 7, The Lion King 1.5. Number 6, Bambi 2. Number 5, Aladdin and the King of Thieves. Number 4, an extremely goofy movie. Number 3, Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. Extremely close second, Tarzan 2. And my number 1, Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time.
All righty. Okay, so yeah, it's been really fun. Big thanks to Z and K, Aquatad, Kogios. I think that was it. Let's see. We have Dylan Jones randomly coming in for one comment saying, "Man, I love this so much." Well, thank you, Dylan. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let's see.
And of course, this ranking series would not have been possible without the inspiration from the original motion pictures and the work of their talented artists and animators.
You're goddamn right. All right. Next up, theatrical D-Tunes cut. I don't know what's going to be coming up next. Honestly, guys, I will say this much, and this is going to be kind of a little bit veering off course from like Disney stuff, and I'm not sure how many people who follow the channel are even going to like it, but I do want to get a Lost ranking. Maybe not ranking every episode of Lost because there's literally 108 episodes, but maybe like a top 50 or something. And I do have a couple people that we could do that with. Lost literally just turned 20 not too long ago. The pilot episode aired about 20 years ago. Yeah. So that might be the next one I want to do. The Great Lost Ranking Podcast. All right.
Almost sounded like you're going to say The Great Lost Detective.
Maybe ranking Lost by season. I mean, we could rank Lost by seasons, but the problem is that would be one podcast and kind of a short podcast at that. So I think we're probably going to do maybe because 42 is a number in the Lost universe, maybe the top 42 Lost episodes. Maybe that would be sort of an idea. I don't know.
That's thematic.
Yeah. Anyways. All right, folks. It's been fun. Have a good night. Goodbye.
Boil the food.